Welcome to today's demo from Introspect Technology. Today we'll focus on the SV3 test system when it comes to testing D-Phy receivers and specifically the upcoming 1.2 spec from D-Phy. We will focus today on the ability of the SV3 test system to inject arbitrary amounts of skew or jitter into D-Phy links. As is known with the MIPI D-Phy standard, the D-Phy 1.2 spec and upcoming high-speed specs require the ability for receivers to de-skew their channels in order to tolerate more PCB trace route delays and constraints in the PCB and so on. And so from a test and measurement perspective, generators like the SV3 D-Phy generator are required to inject arbitrary amounts of skew or jitter per lane, and that's the topic of today's demo. So the hardware setup for today's demo is very simple. We have the SV3 test system controlled by software and connected to an oscilloscope. And because the oscilloscope has only four channels of measurement, 3 of the data lanes out of the SV3 will be connected for measurement, and then the scope will be triggered on the clock lane. And we'll simply inject skew on the data lanes only. So we'll go ahead and start the demo now. As is always with Introspect demos, we have the Introspect ESP software connected to the SV3 system, as shown here. The software is configured as a D-Phy generator, and you see the D-Phy component here, which is very familiar and very similar to previous generation D-Phy components from Introspect. One is able to declare data lanes, patterns, data rates, and all analog parameters, including skew and jitter injection as well. And so the test program for today's demo is very simple. It's one line to set up the data generator. And then we added a small function that plays various skews on the different channels just so that we can see how the channels behave. We're connected to the oscilloscope as I mentioned before. And we're starting in a stop state. So channel 1's ground reference is here and it's in a stop state. Channels 2 ground reference is here and the stop state is just clipped out of view from the scope, and same for channel 3. And so these are the 3 channels that we're measuring. We'll start from a stop state and then we'll click run to enter it into HS and then to play the skews. So go ahead and do run. So the system has generated the pattern, and we can see now the data lanes injecting skews arbitrarily. We've selected a simple pattern just to make it easier to view on the scope. And what we're doing is literally through software commands, simply just updating the skew on each channel on a per channel basis. Of course, on top of that, we could add jitter injection as well, and on top of that, we could add SSC injection as well. But for today's demo, we're simply sending software commands to increment skew back and forth arbitrarily across the channels. And so the test procedure has finished already. It's back to the run state, ready to run the next time. And we've shown the ability to inject arbitrary amounts of skew into D-Phy 1.2 receivers.